Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I just want to speak about setbacks. So the setbacks that you're going to face in anything that you want to achieve. So if you've got massive goals, if you're watching this channel and you want to buy a property, whether it's your first residential property, your first investment property, or maybe you've done that already and you want to grow your property portfolio, just know that there's always going to be challenges along the way. And it's how you tackle those challenges and how resilient you are that will determine whether you hit your goals or not. So it's very easy to get caught up in social media and see everyone doing well. You know, people are achieving their goals, people are making a lot of money, but in reality, social media isn't the full truth. If anyone is actually showcasing you their wealth, their success, just know if it is an honest reflection of how they're living, a price was paid to get there. So nobody attains or nobody achieves high levels of success without going through it, without hurdles, without setbacks. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll have seen me talk about some of the setbacks I've actually gone through. And I want to highlight some of them here in this video as well, just to serve as a reminder to you that it's okay. If you're facing a challenge right now, it's actually okay. It's actually a good thing because it's in the challenge, it's in the problems that you can learn, that you can then pivot, adjust, and become better. So actually look at problems as a gift. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy. When you're going through that problem, when you're going through that issue, it's actually not that easy to actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. But when you look back at it though, more often than not, you look back and you're like, do you know what? I'm actually glad that happened because of that, now I know this and I can move better here. So I've been a property investor now for 3 years and I've been buying properties, I guess, for 8 years because I bought my residential property 8 years ago and then I bought my first buy-to-let 3 years ago. And then after my first buy-to-let, I then bought a block of 4 flats in Yorkshire just over a year and a half ago. And in that journey, there's been a lot of setbacks. One of my biggest setbacks was actually deals falling through. So now I've actually had 2 deals fall through where I was working on a multi-unit deal and it fell through. You know, the first one was a block of flats that I was working on 2 years ago, and it was a block of 4 flats in Doncaster, and we had mortgage lenders look at it and 2 different mortgage lenders would not lend on it based on the valuations that came back. So there were structural issues wrong with the property, there was cracks in the property, there was roof issues as well. And at the time it was so disheartening because we'd paid quite a lot in mortgage fees, valuation fees, we paid solicitor fees and everything like that. But then that enabled us to then actually buy the block of flats in Halifax, which has proven to be a good investment. So although at the time it was disheartening, you know, I'm glad it happened in the way that it did. And this year, as some of you will know as well, for the best part of the year, I was working on a block of 2 flats in Middlesbrough. So this was from March up until last month. And although it did take longer than I'd have liked, it was actually going quite well. You know, estate agents were communicating very well. The seller was fine. But then literally about 2 weeks before completion, the seller mentioned that they'd received a higher offer. And based on that higher offer, they were only going to give me a week to complete. And when we went back to them and said we can't complete within a week, he'd asked me to up my offer. He then asked me to pay for his solicitor fees, his estate agent fees, everything that I refused. And then he withdrew. Now, he withdrew and then he tried to come back and asked if I was still on board to purchase the property, which I refused because he'd actually withdrawn. But again, that fell through because the seller tried to gazump me and it didn't play out in the way that they wanted. So that's the second time that deals fell through. But I just know when things like that happen, it happens for the greater good. So at the time, don't get me wrong, it's shocking, it's disheartening. When I got the email from my solicitor that the seller had withdrawn, that day I was quite distraught. You know, I was like, what the hell? I've been working on this deal for like 6-7 months and this has happened. How can it happen like this? But now I look back and I'm like, you know, I'm glad because now I'm actually looking at deals again and I'm even finding better deals than the one that I saw in Middlesbrough. So I'm all good. And then alongside that, you know, I've had issues with tenants, you know, tenants paying late, getting estate agents to chase them up. I've had issues with contractors that were meant to do a job and they've not been able to do it in the way that I've wanted, and going back and forth with them. As some of you will know as well, I've had a lot of issues with my leasehold. And when I say my leasehold, it's more so the service charges. So the freehold management company don't do a great job of managing the building. You know, my tenants and other residents in the flats always have legitimate complaints because things are going wrong and they're not being fixed. As well as that, they charge extortionate high service charges as well. So it is something I'm working on at the moment on the side, but that's been a problem as well. High service charges for me and the other leaseholders as well, and we don't even know where the money's really going because we're not seeing cleaners come up and show up. We're not seeing some of the contractors that are meant to come and do the work actually turn up or doing it in the right way. So that's been a problem as well. but I'm actually working with the other leaseholders and seeing how we can actually take over the management of that building. I also trying to find my first investment property. It took me 1.5 years to find it. So I was looking all over Kent, trying to find a buy-to-let, and it took me 1.5 years. I actually had the funds ready and I was ready to go and buy my first buy-to-let. But for 18 months, I couldn't find nowhere until I actually had a property agreed and I was able to then actually move forward. And then even then, it took another 5 months for me to complete. So nearly 2 years from actually trying to find my first investment property. So that took ages as well. So the reason why I'm actually detailing all these setbacks is to make you guys aware that although I've got a good number of properties in my property portfolio now and they're cash flowing for me quite well and things like that, it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of problems, issues that have arisen. And it's caused me a lot of stress at times. It's caused me a lot of anxiety at times. But I've just had to really grit my teeth and just keep pushing and keep going forward. So whatever stage you're at in your journey, your property journey, or this could be in any area of life, it can be business, personal, just know that there are better days ahead. And it's just about being resilient and actually just looking at the problem as a gift. That thing there is there to teach you something, and there is a solution to that problem. So hopefully this video has served as a little bit of motivation and gives you a more grounded view of actually what property investing looks like and what it actually takes to be successful as well. So if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, and if you found value from this video or any other video on this channel, then do subscribe as well. And until next time, happy investing.